Hello students. In our previous lectures of this chapter, we have studied about fluid statics, means when the fluid is stationary and the effects related to it. Now, in this chapter, we are going to start fluid dynamics, means now the fluid is not stationary, it is in motion. So, the study of fluid in motion is known as fluid dynamics. For example, water flowing in a river, water flowing in a pipes, etc. are the example of fluid dynamics. So now let us start with topic number 10.3, streamline flow. Now students, in studying the motion of fluid, path and velocity of a fluid at a given point is studied. Means suppose a fluid is moving along this path. So if we consider any point P, then the fluid particle flowing through this point, its velocity is an important physical quantity, as well as its path. The path of this fluid particle is also very important to study. The flow of the fluid is said to be steady if at any given point the velocity of each passing fluid particle remains constant with time. Means, when can we say that the motion of a fluid is steady? So here in this figure you can see this is the path of any fluid particle which is in motion. So when the fluid particle passes through point P, its direction of velocity is this. But when the same fluid particle is reaching at point Q, its magnitude and direction of velocity is different. And here you can see the velocity is in this direction. Once again, the same fluid particle when it reaches at point R, once again its magnitude of velocity and direction will be different. So at these points P, Q and R, same fluid element may have different velocities with different directions. But each and every fluid element which is passing through point P, that will have the same velocity. Means suppose first fluid particle is moving from point P, and if it is having a velocity of 10 meter per second, then if a second fluid particle is passing through the same point P, then it will have the velocity 10 meter per second only, and so on. So at a given point, the velocity of the fluid particles will remain constant. Now suppose the same fluid particle is reaching at point Q. At point Q, it may have the velocity 5 meter per second and direction is this. So if any other fluid particle is passing through the same point Q, then it will move with the velocity 5 meter per second and having the same direction. So at point Q, the velocities of the fluid particles which are passing will have constant velocity. So that is known as steady flow. Now, it is not necessary that the velocities of a particle at different points be the same, but velocity of the particle passing through the same point does not change with time. That means at different points, the velocity of fluid particle can be different, but at a given point, velocity of the fluid particles will be same. So now it is clear that each particle follows a smooth path. This is a path, and the path of the particles do not cross each other. Means if we take another streamline, then these two streamlines will never intersect each other in a steady flow. So these are the streamlines and they will not cross each other. If any particle is here at this point, then during the flow it will follow this path only, and if any fluid element is here, then it will follow this path only. This particle cannot come to this streamline and move along this path. So each and every fluid element will follow its path when it is a steady motion. So now what is streamline? The path taken by a fluid particle under a steady flow is a streamline. Thus, the path of motion of a particle passing through P is PQR. See figure. If any particle is passing through this point P, then it will move along the path PQR only, and it will not change its path. In steady flow, streamlines can never intersect each other. Here we have written will not cross each other. So here we have written can never intersect. So meaning is same only. Now about equation of continuity. As shown in figure, consider planes perpendicular to the direction of the fluid flow at 3 points P, Q and R. You can see here that a steady flow is shown with 3 streamlines. We can draw infinite streamlines, but here 3 streamlines are shown, and at point P this is a plane, or we can say it is a cross section which is perpendicular to the flow. Another cross section at point R perpendicular to the flow of the fluid, and this point Q. Now let AP, AR and AQ be the cross sections or cross-sectional area at point P, at point R, and at point Q, as well as Vp, Vr, and Vq be the velocities at these points P, R, and Q. Then the mass of the fluid passing through point P in unit time. Mass of the fluid passing through point P in unit time. Unit time means suppose 1 second. Then this is known as mass flux. So students, whatever the mass is passing through this cross section area at point P, the same mass will be passing through this cross section area at point R. Also, in unit time, the mass of the fluid passing through this cross section at point Q will be same. So now students, we can define mass flux as the mass of the fluid passing through the cross section per unit time. Students, if the mass of the fluid passing through this cross section area P in time interval, suppose delta T, is delta M, then the mass of the fluid passing in the same time interval delta T will be delta M R. Similarly, in same time interval, that is delta T, the mass of the fluid passing through this cross section at point Q will be delta MQ. So in same time intervals, these masses which are passing through each and every cross section area will be same, and so mass flux remains constant. In other words, we can say the mass of the fluid which is entering through cross section area at point P will be equal to the mass which is coming out in same time interval from this cross section area at point Q. So delta MP is equal to delta MR is equal to delta MQ. Mass flux remains same. Now students, we know that density is mass per unit volume. So mass is equal to density into volume. So here we can write mass is density into volume of the fluid passing in time interval delta T. Students, we know that for a cylinder having cross section area A and height h, its volume will be V is equal to area into height. In place of height, if we write this h is equal to d, that is distance, then we can write same as area into distance. Now we know that velocity is distance upon time. So distance d is equal to velocity into time. Remember, distance d is equal to velocity into time. So we can write this as area and d as velocity into time interval. Suppose we can take this time to as delta t. But if we consider this as unit time, then we can write in unit time interval delta t volume of the fluid passing is given by A into V. So at point P, the volume passing in unit time will be AP VP. Similarly, for delta MR, we can write rho R, AR, VR. And for delta MQ, we can write rho Q, AQ and VQ, where this VQ is the velocity at point Q, AQ is the cross-sectional area at point Q, and rho Q is the density. Now students, if water is flowing through this tube, we can consider this as tube. So whatever the water is moving in this cross-section area at point P, same water is flowing through this cross-section area at point R, and same water will be flowing out through this cross-section area Q. So density of the fluid is not going to change. Density remains same. If it is water, then the density will be of water only. That is remaining same only. So we can remove this as the density remains same in an incompressible fluids. And we know that fluids are generally incompressible. So if this density is removed, as it is same, remain is APVP, ARVR and AQVQ, and this area into velocity is nothing but it is a volume flux. So we can say in general that AV remains constant. So this is nothing but the equation of continuity. It says that AV remains constant during the flow of the fluid. Now students, from the equation of continuity, it is clear that area is inversely proportional to velocity, as we have obtained that AV is equal to constant. That shows that A is proportional to 1 upon V. And so if cross section AR is greater than cross section AQ, then velocity at AR will be less than the velocity at cross section AQ. So students, it is clear that through narrow section the velocity will be greater, and through broader section the velocity of the fluid will be less, because area and velocity, they are inversely proportional to each other. So I have written here, the fluid is accelerated while passing from R to Q. You can see here, this point R is having greater cross section area, and this cross section at point Q is having less area. And so when the fluid is passing from R to Q, it will accelerate, means its velocity will increase. Also, there is a change of pressure in fluid flow through horizontal pipe, means when the cross section areas are different, then the velocities will be also different, and if the velocity is different, then the pressure at that particular points will be different. And students, remember, if the velocity is more, pressure will be less. Now about turbulent flow. We have studied about steady flow. Here a turbulent flow is explained. Students, steady flow is achieved at low flow speeds. That means if the fluid is flowing with less velocities, not much more, then beyond a certain limit called critical speed, this flow loses steadiness and becomes turbulent. Means if the fluid is flowing through some region, and through this region, suppose if we are increasing the velocity, then up to certain speed this flow can remain steady, but beyond that speed, that is critical speed, what happens? Now this flow of the fluid does not remain steady and it becomes turbulent. Example is given: during waterfall the flow becomes turbulent. Breaking of sea waves is also an example of turbulent flow. Water flowing in a pipe is a steady flow, but when the water falls through the tap, it becomes turbulent. Now, topic number 10.4, Bernoulli's principle. Students, this is an important theory of this chapter. We will obtain Bernoulli's equation using work-energy theorem. So students, Bernoulli's equation is a fundamental relation in fluid dynamics. It can be obtained using work-energy theorem. Now here we will consider a pipe with different cross sections. You can see here the cross section area is less and here the cross section area is more. And suppose the fluid is flowing through this pipe from lower height to upper height. Bernoulli's equation is a general expression that relates the pressure difference between 2 points in a pipe to both velocity change and elevation change. Students, this fluid flows in the upward direction, and for this there should be a pressure difference between these 2 points, point 1 and point 2. Here at lower point the pressure should be high and at upper point the pressure should be low. So in that case what will happen? The fluid element will move in the upward direction. So when the height of the fluid changes from this height h1 to this height h2, we can say there is change in the elevation. Elevation means height. Now in that case what happens? As the fluid flows from narrow cross section area to broad cross section area, its velocity may change. So when the velocity changes, what happens? The kinetic energy of the fluid also changes. And if the height changes, we can say that there is a change in potential energy. And to move this fluid element from point 1 to point 2, work has to be done. And this work done is due to change in pressure. there is a difference in pressure. So students, here it is written that a Swiss physicist Daniel Bernoulli developed this relationship in 1738. Here we have considered two regions 1 and 2, that is along BC and along DE. Now here in time interval delta t, the fluid moves from B to C. The amount of fluid which is moving from B to C in this time interval is equal to the fluid moving from D to E in same time interval. Whatever the fluid is entering, the same fluid must exit in equal time. And here at this point 1, cross section area is A1, pressure is P1, and velocity of the fluid is V1. Similarly, at point 2, pressure is P2, cross section is A2, and velocity is V2. And you can see there are different heights. Now, for a fluid in time interval delta t, work done on the fluid at BC. We know that this fluid is moving in the upward direction. So, to move it in the upward direction, work has to be done. So, work done on the fluid. And here at DC, when the fluid moves from D to E, the work is done by the fluid. So, here you have to remember that at point 1, work done on the fluid, and at point 2, that is along DE, work is done by the fluid. And work done is given by pressure into change in volume. But as I said, whatever the volume is passing from B to C is equal to the volume of the fluid passing from D to E in time interval delta t. So volume remains same, pressure is different. So work done W1 is P1 delta V. Students, this is something new for you, but remember always work done is pressure into volume. So here pressure into change in volume is taken. Now along DE, that is at point 2 at upper side, work done by the fluid. So there is a negative sign because it is work done by the fluid. Pressure into volume, but pressure at point 2 is P2 and delta V is same at points 1 and 2. So we obtained both the works done W1 and W2. And so the resultant work done or the total work done is W1 minus W2. W1 is this, W2 is this. In both, delta V is common, so that is taken out. Delta V is taken out. What is remained? P1 minus P2. Let us give this equation number 1. Now change in kinetic energy at point 1 and at point 2. Delta K is K2 minus K1. Here the velocity are different. You can see here it is V1 and here it is V2. And so we have written K2 minus K1, that is final velocity minus initial. We have the formula for the kinetic energy. K is half mv square. But we know that mass of the fluid in time interval delta t, that is mass flux, remains constant. So half of m is taken out, remain is v2 square minus v1 square, because k2 is half of m v2 square and k1 is half of m v1 square. So in both mass is common, 1 by 2 is also common, so that is taken out, remain is v2 square minus v1 square. Now we know that density is mass upon change in volume, or simply volume. So mass is equal to density into change in volume. So we have written delta V into rho in place of m. Let us give this equation number 2. Now about potential energy. Change in potential energy at two different points 1 and 2. Delta U is equal to U2 minus U1. And we know that potential energy U is equal to mgh. But here mass of the fluid element and g is constant. Only there is a change in height. So we can write this as mg h2 minus h1. Once again, in place of m, we will write rho delta V, g as it is, h2 minus h1. So this is our equation number 3. Now, according to work energy theorem, work is done on the fluid and there is change in kinetic energy as well as change in potential energy. So we can write W is equal to delta K plus delta U. Once again, look at this figure. Here the work is done on the fluid and its velocity as well as height changes from point 1 to point 2. So this work done results in change in kinetic energy as well as change in potential energy. Now, from equation number 1, 2 and 3, we will put the value of W, value of delta K and that of delta U. W is this, delta K is this, and delta U is this. So just put these values. We will get P1 minus P2 into delta V, half of rho delta V into V2 square minus V1 square plus rho delta Vg into H2 minus H1. In this equation, on both the side, delta V can be cancelled out. So remained is P1 minus P2 on left side and these terms on the right hand side. Now students, simply open these brackets and arrange the terms with 1 on left side and 2 on right hand side. So you will get on left side P1 half into rho V1 square plus rho GH1. So this is on the left side and the terms with 2, that is P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho GH2 on the right hand side. Finally, we can write P plus half of rho V square plus rho GH is equal to constant, because you can see on both the sides the terms are similar. So this is the equation known as Bernoulli's equation. Students, the dimensions of each and every term is that of pressure only, because if this is having dimension of pressure, then this term should also have the dimension of pressure, and even this term rho gh should also have the dimension of pressure. This term is related to pressure, the second term is related to velocity, and the third term is related to height. Now from this Bernoulli's equation we can write that when a fluid is at rest, that is, the fluid is not in motion in a pipe, and if the fluid is not moving, then its velocity is 0. So in that case, this middle term with velocities, that will become 0, because velocities are 0. So what is remained on left side? P1 plus rho gh1, and on right hand side P2 plus rho gh2. So when the fluid is stationary, we can write P1 plus rho gh1 is equal to P2 plus rho gh2. And so P1 minus P2 is equal to rho g h2 minus h1. Rho and g is common. And so if we take h2 minus h1 is equal to h, that is height, then we can write P1 minus P2 is equal to rho gh. And this equation represents the variation of pressure with depth. We have studied this for our stationary fluids in fluid statics. So students, I hope you understood about the Bernoulli's equation, how we can derive it using work energy theorem, also about equation of continuity and the streamline flow. Now our next topic is 10.4.1, speed of efflux. It is also known as Torricelli's law. Students, this Torricelli's law can be obtained using equation of continuity and Bernoulli's principle. Now the word efflux means fluid outflow, or the outflow velocity of the fluid from a small hole. Students, Torricelli discovered that the velocity of the liquid coming out of a hole at a depth h from the free surface of the liquid is the same as the final velocity of a particle falling freely from the same height. Students, we know about the final velocity of an object which is falling freely. That equation is given by this. For a free fall of an object, its final velocity v is given by this formula, root of 2gh, where h is the height. So Torricelli discovered that when the fluid is moving out of a small hole, and if the height of the fluid column from this hole is suppose h, then the velocity of the fluid which is coming out of the hole is same as that of the final velocity of the free fall of an object. So here you can see in figure, there is a tank or a container This is the cross section area of the open end of the container, and here a small hole is created. So the fluid which is coming out from this hole, its velocity is equal to root of 2gh, that we have to show. Now consider a tank containing a liquid of density rho. Here the density of this liquid is rho, with a small hole in its side. You can see this is a small hole in the side of this container, and it is at a height y1 from the bottom. This hole is having the height from the bottom as y1. Now the air above the liquid, whose surface is at height y2. You can see this is the surface of the liquid in a container, and its height is y2, and the pressure in the container is P. So P is the pressure. Students, suppose if it is an open end, here if there is an open end, then the pressure will be atmospheric pressure Pa. But sometimes if it is a closed container, then we can create excess pressure also, or we can reduce the pressure also. So here we have to consider that the pressure inside the container is P. Now applying equation of continuity at point 1 and point 2. Students, this hole is at point 1 and this open surface in a container is at point 2, whose cross section area is A2. So if the velocity of the fluid which is coming out from the hole is V1, its cross section area of the hole is suppose A1, then we can write A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Students, here V2 is the velocity of the fluid level which is falling. This is V2, because we know that if the fluid is coming out of the hole, then this level of the fluid of this open surface will reduce with some velocity, that is V2. So here we have applied equation of continuity, making the subject V2. We will get A1 upon A2 into V1. This A2 is brought towards this side, so V2 is made subject. Now again at these 2 points, applying Bernoulli's equation. We know that in a Bernoulli's equation, one term is related to pressure, second term is related to velocity, and the third term is related to height or the elevation. So writing this Bernoulli's equation at point 1 and at point 2. But here cross section area of this end open surface in a container is comparatively large than that of the cross section area of the hole. This area is very much larger than this area of the hole. So here we have considered this condition, that as A2 is very greater than A1, the velocity V2 can be taken as 0. Means, students, if this area is very small, then the water is coming out from this hole, its velocity can be seen. But as this cross section area, that is the container, is quite large, so in that case the velocity of water level falling will be very much less, which can be considered nearly equal to 0. So for this condition we can take V2 equal to 0. And also if we take this pressure P1 as atmospheric pressure, then taking P2 is equal to P, pressure of the air. Once again look here, if P1 here, open end of this hole, because as it is open in the air, here the pressure will be atmospheric pressure. So P1 can be taken as PA and P2 is equal to P, which is pressure in the container. So putting these conditions in this Bernoulli's equation, P1 will be PA and P2 can be written as simply P, and V2, this velocity, can be considered as 0. So this term will be cancelling out. And so this equation 2 becomes PA plus half of rho V1 square plus rho G Y1, and here only two terms will remain on the right hand side. So P plus rho G Y2. Now normal simplification is there. Just make the subject this term, middle term of left side. This PA is brought towards this side, so it will become P minus PA. And when this term is brought toward this side, rho G is common in both. So rho G is taken out, so remain Y2 minus Y1. So normal mathematics is there. Simply we have to make this subject and rest of the term we have to bring this side. Now in this term Y2 minus Y1 can be taken as height above the hole from which the water is coming out or the fluid is coming out. So we have taken this as h. Now making subject V1 square, this 2 will be multiplied to both the terms when it is brought towards the right hand side, and this rho is divided in each term. In short, simply we have to make the subject V1 square, and this rho upon 2 is brought towards the right hand side. In that case we will get 2p minus p upon rho plus 2gh. Now taking square root on both the side, here square of v1, square root of v1 square is equal to v1, and here this term is in the root. Simply we have taken square root on both the side, so this term becomes v1. Now students, if the tank is open to the atmosphere, means even this part is also open in the atmosphere, then here at this cross section area A2 the pressure will be atmospheric pressure PA. So in that case we can write P is equal to PA. So if P is equal to PA, then P minus PA will be equal to 0, and 0 into anything will be 0. So for this condition this term will be 0. So what is remained? Root of 2gh. So this equation represents Torricelli's law, and this equation is same as that of the final velocity of a freely falling object. Now students, in this equation number 3, if this pressure P in the container, pressure inside the container is very greater than atmospheric pressure, in that case we can ignore 2gh, because pressure due to height can be neglected. So when this P is very greater than PA, we can neglect this term as well as we can neglect PA. So in that case we will get V1 is equal to root of 2P by rho, and if the density is constant, then we can say that this V1 is directly proportional to pressure. Here this rho and 2, they are constant, so V1 is proportional to root of P. This indicates that the speed of the efflux is determined by the container pressure. Means if the pressure is more in the container, here if the pressure is more, then velocity will be also more, and if the pressure is less, then velocity is also less.